My name is Robert McLean. I'm the publisher of ThePrime. I'm speaking today with Katarina Brydone, who's the new managing director of Colliers. Katarina, welcome.
Thank you, Robert, for having me.
Maybe we could start with you just telling us, how did you end up in real estate? Was it all part of a grand plan, or was there some kind of coincidence involved?
I would say perhaps the latter, the coincidence, as majority people here in this market. I actually studied at university business, and my favorite subject was strategy and change management, which comes helpful now. But I kind of felt always drawn to real estate. When I was a little girl, I wanted to be architect. So it was I would say this positions is kind of blend of the both, best of both.
Okay, so real estate was one of your first jobs coming out of university then?
No, I went into business consultancy. I worked for Accenture. It was a very interesting experience, seeing how the consultancy work in big companies. But I was always drawn into real estate, and then I kind of felt, okay, I've got to change. I've got to follow my heart, and that's how I ended up in real estate some 20 years ago now.
Right. I mean, from what I know about your career, it always seemed to center around some mix of, say, retail and capital markets or real estate investment. Are those the parts of real estate you find the most interesting?
I think real estate in general is very fascinating disciplines. All sectors that we are working has a lot of connections to either public or economy behind it. So I would say all sectors are extremely interested. I definitely spend the most time in capital markets. I have 16 years in capital markets. And in terms of retail, I find it the most complex discipline out of them all three. But I have to say I had a really good fun selling logistics portfolios, also did a lot of offices. And it's very fascinating to see all the trends, how the real estate is changing, how people use it differently over the last 20 years. And I'm really looking forward to the future, what AI is going to do to all of our aspects.
Well, you studied change management, so I think retail definitely lends itself to inspection in that discipline.
In a way, you know, when you look at it from like a helicopter point of view, it's still brick and mortar. People still go and do a lot of compulsory purchasing.
Right.
It's still part of entertainment and leisure. So I think that actually it hasn't changed that much. You know, there are obviously changes like omni-channels and different brands that are working. But in a sense, we still have brick and mortar shopping centers where we go, fulfill the needs, but at the meantime have fun.
Now, the last time I interviewed you, I was going back through my notes from years ago. I think it was around 2018, and I asked you about the trend of shopping centers making serious upgrades to their food and beverage offering. I think we used to simply call them food courts, but when that whole part of retail became serious, they gave it a nice name called food and beverage. I was asking you how those kind of new investments would perform when things got tough. 2 years later, COVID came and it had sort of like the mother of all stress tests, I would say. What did we learn about food and beverage and its role, say, in shopping centers?
It's interesting because the trend, you know, the COVID came and gone, but the trend is still here, the same. Food and beverage is performing strongly. The bigger the cities, the less time you have to cook and the more time you want to socialize with people and be out there. So it's convenient, but it's also a social aspect. So food and beverage is doing extremely well. It's really exciting also to see the emergence of food halls, which happened before COVID, and how they are all battling it, if you like, and evolving. There are exciting concepts, definitely working really well in large cities like Prague. So there is a lot of inspirations to look around in CEE as well as Europe, America. So this is definitely a segment to watch.
For sure. I mean, it's grown from more than simply an addition of a shopping center to keep people sort of there for longer into its own sort of profit center and its own sort of category.
Yes, absolutely. And we did talk about, I remember before COVID, we said 15 to even up to 20% of food and beverage in shopping centers you could accommodate. I don't think that has changed. There is certainly a demand for it. And that's just the trends that evolves in terms of brands and entertainment, how to do it right, because it's not easy. It's a lot of tweaks that you have to get right. It's also CapEx intensive exercise for both the tenants and landlord. But if you do get it right, you create spaces literally where people like to come, and you changes people's life and create a good business. So it makes sense.
How does that figure into your plans for Colliers, and sort of what you would like to see Colliers sort of getting more involved in when it comes to advising clients?
Funny that you say that. But yes, of course. I mean, we do communicate with Colliers in the regions as well. Food and beverage is certainly part of the segments that we are looking into and cooperating and sharing. Although food and beverage is local business quite a lot, you can take a lot of inspirations abroad, and you can bring really good brands as well to sort of change the cuisine options in the city. So yes, so we are currently working on interesting projects. We have signed few food and beverage tenants in Prague High Street. So this is something that we do want to continue.
Now that you've taken over the reins at Colliers, what do you envision the company can achieve over the next 2 to 3 years? What do you see as the biggest opportunities, or what would you like to build up if possible?
This is a really good question. I've spent a long time thinking about this, and I would maybe start with something a step before that. I don't think it's very well known in Czech Republic, but Colliers is, in terms of real estate, fastest growing company. So it's a lot of great things happening right now at Colliers, globally, I would say. I was really positively surprised and impressed with a lot of know-how, knowledge, the way to do business, and also with the plans for the future. So I would say definitely keep an eye on us. We do want to evolve. And what's very different about Colliers is that we are truly entrepreneurial culture. And this I treasure quite a lot because you do hear it among many companies that they do want to be entrepreneurial, but we do have it embedded in the leadership. And it's definitely changed the conversations you are able to have with your colleagues and the way we cooperate. The benefit for the clients in that respect, and this is which is already working and we can build upon, is that with this freedom or this entrepreneurialism comes a freedom as well to, on a local basis, adjust and be agile to how the market is changing. And we definitely want to focus or continue focusing on how the client's needs are changing, how our market is changing, where we can add a lot of value. So to be honest, I see quite a lot of opportunities everywhere, as I think one should, because I think if you have that kind of mindset that you are really listening what the clients are doing, what they need, what they want, there are so many opportunities to follow up. So I would say we have a very strong teams, very good service offering that we do. And I would really love if we sit here in 2 to 3 years and we can sort of talk about the successes we have to push it even further. So I think time will tell if we succeed.
Okay. Capital markets departments are often called upon to carry the load for real estate agencies. That's been a relatively tough sector to rely on recently, just because of the way the market's been. What do you expect from the market and from Colliers here in Prague over the next couple of years?
I think we are actually really lucky in the Czech Republic. If I say that we have a bubble, it's probably not the right words, because you would expect the bubble to burst. But we do have our situations in Czech Republic that's working really well for all the players. It's very well known and debates a lot the fact that our market became very local, and it comes with the fact that it's very strong. It's performing fantastically. Not a long time ago, I had an interview with someone based in America, and they were so surprised. When I was telling them how the markets are performing, they were shocked. They could not believe it. That somewhere in the middle of Europe there could be such a resilient market. So I would say capital markets this year will be probably the second best we ever had. We already have over 2 billion transacted and a very strong pipeline. So the market is performing well. In terms of leasing as well, the logistics is doing, I would say, still performing strong. Well, yes, if you compare it to 21, 22, which were the record years in terms of 2.2 to 2.4 million square meters, this is really like exceptional.
Right.
But if you look at the long-term average, which is around 1.5 million in leasing activity, that's where we are. Pretty much every year. So it's a strong market. In offices as well, there are lots of opportunities, even though the new supply is low in comparisons to what we were used to maybe, let's say, 5 years ago. The average is probably half now. There are still lots of deals to be done, lots of renegotiations. The market has a certain size that what it had 15, 20 years ago. So it's a bigger place to play in or to be active.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that from a transaction point of view, the Czech Republic has become or evolved into a relatively local market. Do we need international investors here, or do you think that's simply a matter of time before things normalize on some level? And would that be positive for the market?
I think the more buyers and players you have, the better for the market because it's more resilient. But I think right now we are in a situations where we are being envied in a good way, by other countries that we do have local capital who is very strong. I'm very proud, if you like, to watch the journey of the Czech funds where they started, let's say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, where they are now. And they basically are now exporting capitals to CEE and with the first few also to Western Europe. So we are putting sort of like a foot on a map of European investments. But yes, I mean, in generally, as I've mentioned, it's really good to have sort of both type of investors here. Whether that would happen, I'm hoping it would. I think we still have to wait a little bit for the pricing because the positive or negative, depending on which side you are on, of the Czech capital is that the pricing here is more expensive than in Western Europe, as you know. So that means the international capitals is sort of sourcing deals on their market. So it's going to take a bit time until they'll be able to be competitive. But one thing to watch out for, which is an exciting debate, are the Polish rates, which at this stage, it's not even economic, I understand, it's a bit political.
The real estate the real estate investment trusts.
Exactly.
Right.
That the Poland is waiting for a change of a law, so they could establish them as well. And now it's a bit questionable whether it will go through or not and at what time. But
Right.
I think if that will happen, questions when, but if that would happen, I think that would have a very interesting impact on Polish market to start with, but obviously it will have a spillover effect to us.
Right.
And the question is what will happen? Will pricing in Poland give it another 5 to 10 years? We saw what it happened in Czech Republic. And I think we could expect that it will be a similar journey there, that it will be a local capital then chasing the local market, also for fundraising purposes, also that they know the market more. And I would expect that that would have a positive impact on pricing. So that's certainly interesting. We actually saw the same trend when I remember starting in capital markets in 2006 and hitting the first crisis 2008, when we were all sitting in investments, one deal falling after another, and probably the most amount of due diligences that didn't get through at the end of the day. And we were looking at the German market with the German local funds still trading. And we were like, wow, wouldn't that be great if we have it? And here we go, we already have it and we are in such a strong position. So there is no reasons why Poland wouldn't behave the same way. So that's something I'm sort of excited to watch.
In offices, there's not a lot of new space to lease at the moment. But that doesn't mean that there's not work to be done and clients that need some sort of servicing. How do you see that working for Colliers?
Yes, I agree with you. The supply is significantly low. As I've mentioned before, let's say 2021, I think the average was 180,000 a year, 5-year average. Now we have half of that, about 90. And when you look at what's coming to the market in 25, 26, it's like below 30, 40,000. So it's very low. Then we're having a really strong year in 27, where it's more than 200,000 in a pipeline that should be delivered. But we know it's a specific projects that will have around 120,000 specifically built for 2 tenants. I'm really proud for our team to say that we are working on that large transactions, on the largest transactions as well from the workplace strategy. So that's a nice projects to work on. But in terms of what do we do in terms of opportunities, I agree with you. There is still a lot of renegotiations, fit outs. Moving of tenants, maybe less so because there is a really scarcity of products. But I'm not concerned that we wouldn't be busy in the next 2 to 3 years.
And maybe finally, what do you see as the biggest difference in the way the agency business is conducted in Prague? You've been involved with agencies for quite a while. You've stepped outside for a while. What's new compared to when you got into the business here?
I think a lot has changed. You can see the evolutions of the business. I remember when we started and it was 20 of us ending up with a few hundreds. And what does that demonstrate is the fact that there are lots of complex services that we could provide as agencies. Specifically, this is something that we would like to focus more and more at Colliers. Really just to look at what the clients need and in a very sophisticated way to already envisage all the steps that needs to be taken and what is the right time to engage different service lines so that the client really can get the best results they need, whether it's a tenant or whether it's a landlord. Our business is quite sophisticated, which is exciting, interesting, and brings, again, a lot of opportunities to discuss with. And at the same time, I think what people enjoy about real estate is that the more complex it's become, the more opportunities for people to grow and learn personally it gives, so I think it kind of is beneficial both ways.
Katarina, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.